Welcome to Building My Legacy podcast. This podcast is designed for leaders and entrepreneurs who want to leave a legacy and will provide strategies that focus upon key elements for legacy creation, determining your desired impact and its benefit, increasing your legacy's reach by engaging key stakeholders, planning, prioritizing, and executing. Here's your host, Dr. Lois Sonst.
Welcome, everybody, to today's Building My Legacy podcast. I have with me today Ken Kladouris. He is an entrepreneur and he is a wealth management expert with a little bit of a different twist from that gung-ho Wall Street, nail 'em, and compete mentality. And I think you probably have that mentality from some of the other things that you have done. But you have combined that drive with an inner perspective that is interesting, especially in today's world. So Ken is an advisor in wealth management. He's also author of Get There, Chart Your Course to Financial Abundance and Live the Life You Desire. Today's world, that's huge. And so how did you get started? How did you get into this journey of combining your mindset, your meditation, your perspective on life with your wealth management?
Yeah, again, well, thank you for having me on today. I appreciate it. And that is an interesting story because I never thought I'd be doing, mindset and meditation teachings, but it's kind of where I've evolved to. I always knew that I was going to do financial advising and had basically focused my career on that. And so undergrad in finance, MBA in finance, went to work for one of the large firms, and then immediately was in that financial realm. And I had gotten to a point where I would call it plateaued or stuck. And my life was kind of on repeat. And I was doing the same things every day and really wasn't having a fulfilled life. It was more of just surviving. And then in an instant, I decided and had this realization that I could do more. And that started me on my spiritual journey and my path to basically know myself. And in that 3-year experience of just going deeper and deeper into that, I found that a lot of the people that I was speaking with professionally were really intrigued by my presence and just how I showed up to meetings and the conversations we were having. And it was in that kind of realization that this is something that people really wanted. And so I created the book to share that. And then I did a week in silence in 2018. And when I came back from that, literally everybody usually perks up and is like, oh my God, how could you do a week in silence? Like, I don't understand. I have so many questions. And so that created the evolution of the Stillness to Success course, where we, start with learning how to meditate and then go into the vision and planning stages so that people can thrive in life.
So, Ken, when you talk about meditation, there are many different modalities of meditation. And when you talk about a week of meditation, I think instantly of the monastic experience, especially of the Benedictines. I think of Zen. So what was your perspective and how did you get so centered that you could spend a week in silence?
Yeah, so the daily practice of meditation, I meditate twice a day for 20 minutes, and that's also what we teach. So after, about 1.5 years of meditating every day, I felt pretty centered. And then I was speaking with some of my fellow meditators, and they said that the peak experience for them was doing this week in silence. So I immediately found one, signed up for it, and, jumped right in.
Okay. So for a person in a busy world of just trying to make business go right now, talk a little bit about how that grows a business.
Well, from my perspective, and I think most people, right, we all show up as people. And if you're a better person and you're more alert and more focused, the work that you deliver is higher quality and it's less stressful for you to do it because you're focused. And so spending, the 20 minutes in meditation a day allows you to do that and be more, again, efficient. So it's similar to, the story of, the people cutting down two different trees, and one person grabs a chainsaw and walks right over to the tree and starts cutting, where the other individual sharpens the blade first. And so while the person is halfway done cutting the tree, he's looking back like, oh my God, there's no way this person could beat me. Like, why is he just sitting there? And then again, with the sharper blade, the second person cuts down the tree faster and has less effort and everything put into it because he has a better tool.
Okay. So that makes sense. In today's world, there are so many people who are just concerned in their business. Will I be among those who survive? And not just survive, how do I thrive? And you talk about that. So what is some of your advice to businesses as they think that through for themselves?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this post-pandemic, maybe still in the middle of the pandemic, I don't really know exactly how it's going to go going forward, so I don't want to speak too soon, but it is a very trying time for a lot of companies, including mine. And again, I just always go back to the meditation practice. So it lowers a few of the benefits of meditation is that it lowers your stress, your anxiety, and helps you just, again, stay focused. But for me, it also adds to my creativity. So in business, when I'm trying to find new solutions or new customers or whatever it is I need, having those bursts of creativity helps me find new angles to get that done and create new channels of revenue for my company.
Got it. So how do you really keep the balance between that? Because I think oftentimes we think we do this, a little bit of meditation, then we do this, which is our primary piece, which is gung-ho business. And then we may have a little leftover time for family and friends and whatnot, right? So how do you put this into a discipline so it actually works, so it's not fragmented?
Yeah, it's a great question. So again, I am all about daily habits and scheduling. Okay. So I basically know that I'm going to meditate at this time and meditate at that time. And then part of the offering in Stillness to Success is my daily action plan, which is how I schedule my entire day and start my morning to set myself up for success during the day. And it allows me to, again, be more efficient. So I spend less time working because I can get it done faster, which gives me more time to spend doing the things that I desire.
Okay, well, you've got things you enjoy doing because you sail and you have a motor boat, I believe, and you do things in the community. So you've found a way to be more focused and to accomplish those things. What are the biggest obstacles that people have in really having that balance and to achieve that focus that you're enjoying?
So it's their own mental chatter. Okay. See, you got that. I mean, it's all the conversation going on in your head that you're not in control of, that you don't understand, but never stops. And so being able to rein in, your mind is why, again, we teach meditation, because it's the beneficial thing. It's the biggest obstacle for people is themselves.
Is themselves. That's so true, isn't it? You have a course, Ken, that addresses this. Talk a little bit about that for the audience, if you would.
Yeah. So the course is, again, basically the evolution of the book and my spiritual practice. So after spending the week in silence, I had just finished writing the book. So it wasn't in the book, and people were always asking me about silence and things like that. And I was like, this is clearly the evolution. And we kind of talked about it a little bit, but it accelerated my success in business and in my personal life. So I feel like it was the fuel that I already added to the fire. which was great. And so that's why we start in the Stillness to Success course by teaching meditation and really quieting your mind so that you can hear the answers almost to the questions that are in the modules, really understand what it is you're trying to achieve in life, and stay focused and actually achieve it.
Quieting the mind is one of the hardest things we do. So is there any magic in terms of how to approach that?
Yeah, so I'm a Chopra certified primordial sound meditation instructor, and that is what we teach in the course.
Okay, so what is that?
It's a mantra-based meditation. So you basically continually say the same mantra in your head. And what it does is it focuses your mind so that you can have the benefits of meditation, right? Because so many people that I speak with are like, oh, I would meditate, but when I sit down to meditate, my mind keeps racing, or I have thoughts and all these different things. Again, they're mentally just talking and mental chatter. And so when you give them something to focus on, all those outside thoughts subside. And if they do come in, you can just return to the mantra and relax into it. So
for you, what's your mantra?
Oh, we don't share mantras.
You don't? Okay.
No, it's
because
a very
why?
personal. It's a very personal experience.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
So there isn't sharing, but you use that to quiet your mind. And once you started this, Ken, what happened to your business? Did it remain about the same? Did you see growth? What shifted, if anything?
So my entire life changed through meditation, which is a big thing to say for, again, 20 minutes twice a day. But my business took off. I think it more than doubled in the first year. And I had more free time. So it's kind of everybody's dream, right? Make more money and have more fulfillment in life, have more fun, spend more time with family, and do all the things that you want to do while having a more successful business.
Okay. So Ken, a lot of people make lists. A lot of people have the focus that comes from building lists. Many people spend some quiet time. What is it that you're doing that's different that produces results? Because I think people right now are very worried, stressed, afraid. How will we really come out of this pandemic situation and the economic aftermath that may or may not be a part of it? So what's your advice there? How do they do that?
So in finance, when we're doing the planning, and in my own life, I try to focus on the things I can control. Because everything else is outside of my control. I can adapt to it and make changes. But at the end of the day, the things that I do will have the biggest result on me. And so we create action plans and we immediately get to them. The other thing I'd say for those that are like, oh, I've wrote lists and I do these things, right? In the course, we go to deeper levels of finding out your motivation and the reasons why you want to achieve something. And knowing, more than surface level reasons is what makes you actually put in the energy. Right? You have to have a goal so big that you're willing to do anything to get it and understand why you're doing it. And then you will wake up every morning excited and, do what you have to do to reach your goals.
It's incredible. So for you, as you have gone on this journey, what's been your biggest challenge?
Sorry, I just want to clarify. It's on the business side or on the spiritual growth side?
Both.
What would be more interesting?
Both.
On the business side, so I've started 2 companies in the last year. I guess a little bit longer. So it's a COVID year. Sorry. So it's been the last 18 months. And so dealing with I don't want to call it the stress, but right as you get closer and closer to the finish line, the energy starts to mount and you start questioning, was it worth all the time and everything? 'Cause you're not getting the results yet. And I guess that takes me back to my meditation practice, which was just slowly build and compound. And you'll see major results. Just keep doing the work. And so that's my biggest hurdle still, is not allowing that limiting belief or that naysayer in my head to sometimes creep up and keep talking.
Those naysayers are so difficult to manage, aren't they?
Yep.
And managing our minds is always the hardest, because it's an unconscious part of us. The conscious part is the easy part. It's the unconscious messages we keep giving ourselves over and over again. So meditation has been part of what's helped you do that. So for you, on the personal side, what would you say?
Oh, it's the same thing.
Okay.
So I feel that in this pandemic era, like there's just a lot more weight and energy just around everybody, and it kind of feels heavy. And so to continue to live lightly and freely is becoming more and more difficult. So it feels to me. So I feel like I need a reset, which is why I'm jumping into another week of silence, to flush everything off and just really recenter, so that I can jump into the end of the year and have a successful finish to the year.
So let me ask you, do you have a process with goals? We teach always, to measure it. Are you getting there? Have you accomplished it? So with what you're doing with meditation and your financial wealth management, do you have a process for reviewing? How is my meditation really serving me? And how am I using it to really move my unconscious brain to levels where I can have more exponential growth?
I don't measure my meditations.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think that's making it way too logical. And I know there's a lot of logical people. I mean, obviously I'm a finance guy, so I get that side too. But meditation is more just how you feel, and it's more the emotional side. You just have to let it be and understand that it's there, and you'll feel the results. I literally was helping somebody go through the course and was training them on their mantra just last week. And he's like, how's this going to be? What am I going to feel? I'm like, just do it. Like, you don't have to worry about all those things. Like, it'll naturally occur just like anything else. Just let it happen. And, 2 days later, he was like, oh my God, I've had such a productive day. I can't believe this is all I had to do. And I'm like, I told you, like, you just got to let it be for a little bit. Stop trying to control everything and let it flow, and the focus will come.
Got it. So people who are debating and thinking about this, I'm a little bit afraid. What would you suggest?
So, I will just share with you, when I was going into my first week of silence, I was a little afraid, right? I was like, oh my God, I can't believe a week is a long time. I run a business, I have clients. Like, there's no way I could have no contact with the world for a week. And I did it. So if we're concerned that we can't make 20 minutes for ourselves in a day, I'm sure that we could find 20 minutes to sit down and meditate. So that would be my advice, is just find yourself 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes. So, and it's going to have profound impact on your life. So
what brings you the biggest joy right now in your life, Ken?
So that individual I just shared with you, his text message that I got just a few days ago that was like, this has changed my life. Thank you so much. That is, one of the biggest things in my life. On the finance side, it's the same thing. I get to retire, or I have the money, or, I get to live the lifestyle I want because of the real estate you've done for me. Those are the types of things where people, again, get to enjoy themselves and what matters to them, not necessarily anything less than that.
Got it. So for you, what would be a great legacy that you would want to leave?
Yeah. So I do have a philanthropic side of the businesses as well, where we, donate to Make-A-Wish and natural causes. So things like Oceana and Sea Shepherds. And that for me is another big driver of impact for me. because seeing those change or seeing a kid's life changed for the better is huge. So one of my legacy plans is to start a foundation so that, my heirs can continually forever make those changes in people's lives and really help people be more successful and have some inspiration, be inspired to live.
Got it. So Ken, what are things that we have missed that we haven't talked about that you think is important for our audience to know?
Yeah, I think we did a really good job covering it. So thank you so much. I mean, we talked about a lot of information here. The only thing I would add is that at the end of the day, everybody's legacy and what they achieve in a day or a lifetime is really up to them. And it's the choices that they make starting today. So whatever anybody's thinking of doing, right? If you're listening to this, you're like, oh, I really want to name it. Just figure out a way to start moving toward that today and find the smallest action step you can do to start building momentum. Because momentum for me has been a lot, and it's been everything, because everything compounds, everything builds. So start where you are and you will eventually get there and you will live the life you desire.
I love that. Just begin and start where you are. Ken, thank you so much for being with us on Building My Legacy podcast today. And for all of you who are listening to Building My Legacy podcast, thank you for being with us. We will have information about Ken and his book in the show notes. So please feel free to contact him. And thank you again, Ken, for being with us today.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
You've been listening to Building My Legacy podcast with Dr. Lois Sonst. To book your appointment with Dr. Sonst, visit www.buildtomorrow.com.